what's up and why, bringing you the bright side of life, one fun moment at a time. Brought to you by the New Thought Media Network. Please put your hands together for your hosts, Rev Taylor and Miss B.Lovely. Clap for us. Clap for Rev Taylor, who is back from their world travels. Welcome back. How does it feel to be back on American soil, darling?
Hey, B.Lovely. I had a nice little soft landing into American soil. I left for Seattle on April 17th and did not come back to Oklahoma until May 7th. But my trip back from Japan, I left on May 4th, and I'm a giant Star Wars fan, so May the 4th was with me when I left Japan. Left at 7:45 in the evening and landed in LA also on May 4th at 1:45 in the afternoon. So to have May the 4th be with me for 2 days in a row, best believe I did watch Star Wars on the airplane. Just like and for LA to be where I landed, to start on one side of the Pacific and then land on another side of the Pacific. I made a little video about my landing. I'm not going to share it here, but we could post the link, B.Lovely, the Facebook link, reel that I shared around my landing back into Oklahoma City. I landed here on my, about a little bit before my 45th birthday, and didn't tell anybody this was the day that I was going to be back, because I don't want to make any promises. I wanted to be free and clear to do what felt right, and I ended up spending most of the day in a hammock in my favorite park. So that was my situation. But I'm grateful to be back and reorienting to these here United States. How you be, Miss B.Lovely?
I be very, very well with this broken English that I was using. I'm definitely happy that you're back. I'm happy to hear that you had safe travels and everything. But just been taking it one day at a time. Um, there's been a lot that's been going on. I went to go see the Michael Jackson movie actually multiple times, and I went to see. I don't know if you heard of that new movie with Vivica A. Fox and Sterling K. Brown. Is God Is?
I've heard of it. Yes, I heard that
Yeah.
if I want to see it in Oklahoma, I need to see it now.
It was very interesting. It was a very interesting movie. I've never seen Sterling K. Brown play the role of a villain. He's always played, the lovable nice guy. So seeing him be in his baddie era, it was different. It was intriguing. And it's like the movie gave me like a Kill Bill-esque type of feel. And it was very cool to see that from a Black perspective, because a lot of revenge films and stuff, we don't usually see it from especially a Black woman's perspective. And like the fact that the film was like based in like, what's it called when it's like your justifiable rage. It was very creative, very thought provoking, very entertaining. Janelle Monáe was in it. She was hilarious for the brief scene that she was in. But I've just been really getting deep into my entertainment bag, just kind of like using it as an escape from reality, because a lot of things that's going on in America and stuff, it's very, very bleak and stuff. So being able to dive into movies, dive into TV shows. I read Brandy's memoir, which is really good. I'm starting Arsenio Hall's memoir now, which I'm really excited about. So it's been a very enlightening and fun period for me going into, escapism.
I'm really happy to hear that. I escapism for me, I think I've mentioned on the show, or maybe I just talked to our producer Clarissa about this. Clarissa's last day was a few weeks ago, and I had the honor of staying with her in Seattle, and it was specifically because of the show. She asked me if I needed a ride and a place to stay, and I needed both of those things. So I'm grateful that we had an opportunity to hang out for some time in a way that we never would have before. And it gives me a perfect excuse to call her up and just like go to Seattle and hang out, because that's definitely something I want to do. But I mentioned to Clarissa that I've been listening to children's stories at night. Right now, I'm listening to it's the series is called His Dark Materials. The Golden Compass is the first book in that. That was a movie that Nicole Kidman starred in. There's a series, an HBO Max series that's based on it. And the third book, I just never got to as a college student. It came out when I was like 12 or 13, and then I read The Golden Compass, and then I read This Little Knife. But Golden Compass didn't drop until I was in college, and that character was still like 12 and I wasn't anymore. So, and I didn't remember it, so I just kind of like let it go. So, it's been cool to like revisit stories that I didn't finish from childhood while also having that experience of escapism. And speaking of kids, I just want to say real quick in that Facebook video that I mentioned earlier. At the end of it, I spoke to how I spent my birthday because I had so much spaciousness. I had the bandwidth to do some fundraising for a team of advisors for youth at a conference that I'm going to. It's a Black spiritual conference, a Black New Thought conference. And so thank you, B.Lovely, for putting up the donation link. We only have $676 left from this fundraiser. There was a lot more as of my birthday. So like I was like, it's my birthday. Hey, send money to get these youth advisors to the youth. I love that it's a good cause. I love that I got an opportunity to decompress, to give back to my community. Grateful for the community giving back to making this a possibility for these advisors to get to Kansas City this summer. And so I love how this concept of using, like, this is the gift of media, is it serves as a comfort for us. As things are loud out there, we get to like cozy up with stories in our houses, and I'm grateful that we have a place to stay, safe places to live, right?
Always grateful for that. That's one of the things I always, when I'm praying, I always say I'm grateful for, because you never know, like especially in this economy and stuff, having a roof over your head, clothes on your back, shoes on your feet, like stuff like that, it makes you so much more fortunate, because there's a lot of people who unfortunately, are unhoused and don't know, where they can get clean, fresh clothes and stuff from. So
Mm-hmm.
moving in gratitude and recognizing the blessings that are in our lives, even if it's like a little small blessing, having gratitude will take you a long way. And you guys, the link here so that you can help donate is there. Please help, because we got to give back to this next generation who's going to be, leading us forward in the future. Speaking of the future, something I want to talk about that I saw that I thought was really interesting. Quinta Brunson, the woman who is behind Abbott Elementary, she is actually in talks to develop and star in a new Betty Boop movie. She's going to be starring as Betty Boop. Um, I'm sure you're familiar with Betty Boop, right?
Of
Casey
course, of
Taylor.
course I am. And you know what I found interesting about this story is there was some backlash, uneducated backlash from people online saying that this was cultural appropriation of the Betty Boop story, when in reality Betty Boop was culturally appropriated from a Black woman. That she was, I think, Baby Esther was her name. You got this inside scoop, B.Lovely?
I don't know the name of the woman that they were appropriating, but I do know the lore behind the fact that Betty Boop was originally based off of a Black woman. When you look at pop culture, a lot of stuff is taken from Black people. Let's be real.
And especially in those times, Black folks did not get their credit where credit was due. That was a common occurrence at the time, and evidence suggests, I believe this woman's name was Baby Esther. And in regards of like the visuals and the style of performance, it very clearly appears to be, and it makes sense, like artists, they're out in the world. When I stopped in LA, I had some conversations with my manager and some people about writing, and every person that I met with was really encouraging. And as a writer, so much of what inspires me are things that I see. So I can imagine the person who created Betty Boop being at a Baby Esther show and being like, yep, this is the vision that I got for this cartoon character, and that just is what it was.
When you look back on the history of entertainment around that time when Betty Boop came up, she came up in like, well, it was like the 1920s, 1930s. That was also around the time when they was doing I forgot what the actual term was, but blackface. Was it, it starts with the S. Was it I forgot what the term was, but the way how blackface was used, you know, appropriating black people because black people were not allowed to be in show business and stuff. Like a lot of stuff from back then was basically blocking black people out from the spotlight and everything. So I'm very interested to see, you know, the origin story of Betty Boop and how they're going to do this because according to the synopsis for the film, like it's going to be told from the perspective of the animator who created Betty Boop and like his relationship with, you know, bringing this character to life, and like, you know, how he was going to like present her and stuff. And Quinta Brunson's going to be starring as Betty Boop and also, you know, helping to develop the film. And I've been following Quinta since the not TikTok, what was it called? It was the, I forgot what the app was that she got famous for when
Was it
she
fine?
Vine, yes. That's where she got you know, when she started getting popular and everything. So I'm really curious to see, you know, like her spin and everything because she's a funny person and she's a great storyteller.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember her. It was Facebook. There were Facebook videos that she made, and I can't think of. There was something that it was like this series that she started that like became a whole viral trend, and I feel like it was something like black people said or things black people say. It was something along those lines.
Oh,
And
he got money. I remember that. That was it. Uh-huh. Things black people say, like a series based off of that. So congrats to Quinta.
then,
Quinta, I will definitely be in theater seeing that. Something else that I saw that was making the rounds online. 2026 BET Awards. They announced the nominations. Miss Belcalis Almazar, aka Cardi B, is leading the nominations with six, including Album of the Year, and Fashion Vanguard, which is a new category that BET is presenting this year. They're introducing two new categories: Fashion Vanguard, which is somebody who helps push the culture forward, you know,
good.
with fashion and everything. ASAP Rocky, Coleman Domingo, Beyonce, Cardi B, Bad Bunny are among the nominees there, which I think, okay, I agree with that, especially Coleman Domingo, because he can dress down, okay? He does not play. There's also there's also the Prism Award, which is going towards focusing on content creators in the digital space that are having the table shaking conversations that elevate the culture. So we had Don Lemon, who is nominated, Charlemagne the God, Baby. This is Kiki Palmer, her online podcast. The what's it? I think it's called the 857 Show, or the I let me get the title for that because I don't want to disrespect somebody's shows. But also leading the nominations, Kendrick Lamar. He has five. Mariah the Scientist, which you know I like Mariah the Scientist. She's a cute little girl, and I love her music. She's nominated. Doja Cat, Clips, Tiana Taylor, Olivia Dean, Lotto have four nominations. Michael B. Jordan, Denzel Washington are nominated in the acting category. Spike Lee's movie Highest to Lowest is also nominated. Wicked is nominated too for best
Good.
film.
I've been watching Wicked all week.
Wait, you've been watching Wicked
I'm
all week,
reading.
like multiple
I've been,
times?
yes, I
But
have.
why?
It's comforting, it's just like in the background. And I mean, I just feel like I just went on this adventure and I identify with Elphaba's character. I watched For Good last night. I've been watching one of the two of them all week, but I watched the first one a good like four times in a row. Like with my
I
Little Mermaid shirt, like a child watching the same movie over and over again.
Okay, I was wondering if that was a Barbie shirt, but it's Little Mermaid. I like that. I said, wait, is that the Haley Bailey?
Yep,
Haley
sure
Bailey.
is. Yeah,
Okay, yes, supporting the Black Mermaid.
yeah.
But yes, Drewski is going to be hosting the BET Awards for the first
Good.
time ever. And it's gonna air live June 28th. So I will be watching that and supporting because you know Black entertainment television. It gives the things to the Black creators. So I'm going to be, putting my support there. And that's going to lead us to our next segment called Do Better Blues. So, Courtney Kemp, the woman who gave us the series Power and all of the other spin-offs in the franchise. She has a new franchise that she just launched. I think it was last week. It's called Nemesis on Netflix, and it basically follows this mastermind behind this group of thieves in LA. They hit up, they do a lot of jobs, taking millions of dollars and stuff. There's a cop who is following them, who is really hell bent on catching them because they killed his brother in the line of duty years ago. So it's called Nemesis because it's the cop versus the head of the robbers campaign. And Courtney Kemp, I think she is a phenomenal writer, phenomenal creator. Love her. She gives a lot of Black creators jobs, a lot of Black writers and PAs jobs and stuff. And her content, from most of her content, I love. I watched Nemesis. I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of discourse on threads with people saying that they don't want to support it because they're not really a fan of actor Matthew Law's acting. And the reason being, the conversation I'm seeing is he plays the IT guy in Abbott Elementary, who is a love interest of Principal Ava. They see him as, this nerdy, quirky, cool guy and that, but then seeing him in this show, from what I'm seeing in the comments, people are saying like his character is very unlikable. They don't like his acting style. They really aren't feeling him. They don't like the show. They think that Netflix should get rid of it. And I'm saying, my idea is people don't understand that we are really in a deficit of Black content right now. A lot of these studios are cutting the budgets for a lot of development for Black shows. A lot of Black shows have gotten canceled, especially Black shows with women as the lead. Case in point, Amazon got rid of Harlem, which was starring Megan Good. Really, really great show, really, really great script. That got canceled, I think, after the third season. And it kind of left people, kind of like wanting more because there was so much more to tell the story, but it got cut. Run the World on Showtime, which featured an all Black female ensemble with also queer leads, got canceled. There's several other shows that 20s on HBO by Lena Waithe featuring queer women cast, canceled as well. We used to have a lot of Black female led shows, especially after the whole George Floyd, America having this reckoning moment. But now, under this new administration, with a lot of these people who are in charge of these studios trying to appease the administration, they're cutting a lot of these Black shows. And my thing is, I'm going to always be rooting for everybody Black. I'm always going to be rooting for Black shows. I'm going to be
All
rooting
right,
for
so
Black. And I like Issa because she actually just came out with a new podcast honoring Insecure, doing like was it talking about how Insecure got created and stuff with the showrunner Prentice Penny and stuff. But she's also talking about how right now we are really in a drought for Black content because of a lot of these studios. They're fearing retribution from the administration. They're fearing not being able to get funding for other projects and stuff. So a lot of Black content is not being put out. And my thing is, if people can support and give Tyler Perry years to continue to push his shows, Sisters. I used to love Sisters, but I had to give that show up for my own personal reasons. But I'm like, if we can support content like that I don't think is really pushing the culture forward, we can give people like Courtney Kemp some grace, especially since she has given us great content through the Power franchise. With your background, your previous experience, working in Hollywood and stuff, I'm really curious to hear, your thoughts with people trying to tear down a show that just got started that really needs those streaming numbers to get picked up for a second season.
I mean, you are absolutely right. Courtney Kemp does deserve all the love. She does do a lot more to support writers of all identities in Hollywood in comparison to Tyler Perry. Because Tyler Perry writes his own stuff, nobody gets to be in on the writing process, gets those credits for having written a Tyler Perry show. And his content is what happens when one person writes all of the content. It's only told from one perspective, one point of view, despite the fact that the characters are diverse characters. It's Tyler Perry's projection of who these people are. And Courtney Kemp does a really good job of hiring diverse writers and giving writers their first opportunities. Everybody that I've ever known who's worked with her has only had wonderful things to say about her. And the way that I kind of see what you're saying, like we as one of the things I love about this show is that we focus on the brighter side of life, one fun moment at a time. And what that means for us is that I find I have to have grace for people who have different tastes than I do. That I would much rather prefer that who we were as a country, as a nation, were people who are supporting the Courtney Kemps of the world. No shade to Tyler Perry, but I obviously have opinions about the writing of his content as a writer. I think collaboration, the spirit of collaboration, is an important part of what's on the screen, and his disregard of that, I don't align with it. I am not in alignment with that, and I'm grateful that you have identified informed people, whoever runs across this show, that Nemesis is a show worth checking out, is worth a show supporting, and really getting the word out that when we're trash talking each other's content, especially to your point, when there is less diverse content being made as a result of not just like the current administration speaks to the way the entertainment industry thinks that the kind of content the public wants to see. And as concepts of DEI are considered or being really uh, criticized right now, that Hollywood is navigating towards that safe white male content that has made it money for so long across the country, or across the world. And I'm gonna take this as this do better blues to transition to giving reverence, because I really do. I want to give reverence to the fact that the content that we create, the who we are, the impact, the way that we show up culturally has an impact on the world. Getting an opportunity to go into Asia, to not know the language for nothing, have no basis for the culture. I didn't even know I was going to go on this trip. So it's not like I had like tons of time to do some research and like know what cultural expectations of me are in Japan versus the Philippines versus the places I was going, in Taiwan and of that nature. And so I was one of the things that I was most grateful for about the United States from traveling abroad was how accessible marijuana is. Me and my friend Mary Jane, I was missing her something bad on my trips to Asia. And I'm not trying to be put up under anybody's Filipino jail. Let me tell you that. So I didn't go to Asia with any kind of scavenger hunt of it. This is a thing I'm looking for. Like I was not looking. But I had conversations with people about how much I love Mary Jane and how much I miss her while traveling overseas. And the responses that I got were, yeah, there's none of that here. People are like, I haven't smelled it the whole time I've lived here, or I've never seen it. And I'm like, okay, like I think it's easy to criticize this country and its history of the ways that people have been prosecuted and continue to be prosecuted for marijuana. And I honestly, I mean, if we go and say something about doing better, I definitely think our country can stand to do a whole lot better about mass incarceration. And I think the ways in which our content gets us to see each other and have empathy for each other, understand each other's perspectives. I think Courtney Kemp has an opportunity to really do that, especially with this like criminal police drama that we got going on. But the fact that for the vast majority of Americans, that having accessing marijuana, using marijuana is not that big of a deal, where it is to me, a holy sacred substance that Asia does not see for its sacred nature. And that's okay. But I'm grateful to live in this country where I got to come home to the Los Angeles, came into the States through Los Angeles. Best believe that dispensary is the first place that I went. Took my Mary Jane to the ocean, public beach in the ocean, and enjoyed the waves and being on both sides of the Pacific, both on May 4th. So just enjoying my Mary Jane in that spot. I want to give reverence to Mary Jane and the United States ease of
That.
accessing it at this point in this day and moment in history.
I love that. Now I'm really curious, why is it that they're so strict on marijuana? Like I can understand cocaine, I can understand meth. Marijuana doesn't kill anybody. Like why is it that a lot of Asian countries are so strict and adamant about, persecuting people who use marijuana in their country?
You know what I was saying about the impact that we make as a culture? We really led with demonizing marijuana with all of our propaganda, and it's been fed out into the world. And so I got to trust and know that in the ways that we are shifting as a culture and putting this content, more and more of this content out there and serving as that demonstration, like Amsterdam was doing that all the way over here for a long time by themselves. But I'm grateful that that our relationship to it has changed so quickly. I didn't expect to see this kind of shift in my lifetime, and even like the shift from the access to medicinal, the way how we went from medicinal to recreational in so many states so quickly, and are continuing to do so.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that may have to do with our political system. I don't know anything about um, the way voting works from one country to the other, but um, the fact that states' rights make it so that states can make something like this legal, even though, like you said, you thought I might be talking about it because of a federal classification change, and that happens too, right? Like the states in the United States get to kind of make these cultural shifts, and the federal government catches up to it over time. That's what happened with marriage equality. That was happening in the states, and then caught up to the federal government
Mhm.
with that.
That is true. That is true. Very, very interesting conversation. And also, just a little tidbit nugget for anybody who didn't know this week. I don't know if it was the transportation department or if it was the federal government as a whole, but they made a new law saying that it is okay if you have medicinal marijuana, you can now fly with medicinal marijuana. So, the country is making progress in some avenues, but we definitely do need to address the fact that there are a lot of people who are wrongly, behind bars based off of marijuana convictions, especially now that it has been reclassified by the federal government.
They said that to me in the dispensary about how I could fly with it. I didn't give it a whole lot of thought, but I was like, "Oh, interesting information." I didn't go much further than that.
It
They
came
can
out
get that
Tuesday.
PSA from the TSA.
I was about to say, look, I know some folks, nobody who is on here right now who has flown with marijuana before. So
Oh, do you?
now,
Nobody who's ever been on this. Don't know
no, no,
anybody. Nobody
no,
here. Uh.
no. But I really like this conversation. Is there anything that you wanted to add before we close out with these lovely folks?
No, let me hear your gems. Be lovely. Drop those gems and let's pray out. You or me, whatever you want.
Oh my goodness. Do I have any gems? I definitely want you to pray out because, I think that you do better prayers than me. But it's Memorial Day weekend, so I just want to encourage people. A lot of the US is going to be raining and stuff. I know it's going to be raining all throughout the DMV from today through Monday. But if you're going out, please do not drink and drive. Have a designated driver. Um, and just try to be kind to anybody that you come across because these are trying times and a lot of people got some stuff going on. So if you can be kind to just one person, you never know. You just might make somebody's day.
Beautiful. And I'm not better at prayers. I just practice, so I'm more comfortable. That's all it is. That's all it is. So I invite each one of us to take a moment to consciously connect with the breath, to recognize that the breath is a representation of our connection with the divine, that we are being breathed by the divine. The divine is as close to us as the breath. expresses itself is in every cell of our being. And I'm grateful that any understanding of spirit that we have, that we've come together in prayer right now, that we get to simply honor our expression of diversity, our understanding of what spirit means for us individually, and also to receive whatever gifts needed to be received from this experience, knowing whether it is getting a designated driver, having grace for others, watching a show told from a different perspective. I am grateful to trust and know that this episode is exactly what it's needed to be for each one of us. And in gratitude, I invite us to close this prayer however you are most comfortable. I choose to close by saying, and so it is.
Amen. Well, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of What's Up and Why. We'll see you guys same time, same place next week. Have the best day ever.
Day ever.
Hey. Bye.